rat race, an endless, self-defeating, or pointless pursuit. Does this describe your situation? Sometimes the rat race is conflated with working a 9-to-5 job, but this only scrapes the surface. If we dig deeper, one thing becomes very clear. The entire system is broken. All of us feel the rapid change in recent years, and this change was not for the better.
You go to school, you get a degree, and you're still not guaranteed a job.
The cost of living is killing people.
Can somebody explain to me in crayon-eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live?
I mean, we see it everywhere. Prices of groceries skyrocket, people can barely afford the rent, saving money is nearly impossible, let alone buying a house. The rich get richer and the rest are forced to tighten their belt, but meanwhile, the government ships billions of dollars overseas. I mean, what the fuck is going on? The world is going crazy for quite some while now. And then, in this whole mess, there's you. Maybe you have dreams, starting a family, having great vacations, buying your dream car. Maybe you simply want to live a good life, without the constant fear of falling off the financial cliff. It's not just about your job, it's about your freedom, your future, and your sense of purpose. It's about you deserving decency and normality. You work because you want to make a living for yourself, and perhaps your loved ones. You sacrifice the most precious commodity in the world, your lifetime, and that's really something, man. This shows that you are on the right track. But as you notice, nowadays, that is no longer enough to have a good life. The traditional path is disappearing at an incredibly fast pace. No matter how hard you try, you're treading water, tilting at windmills, and that's so frustrating. Because that's your one life we're talking about. You can hear the clock ticking in the back. The birthdays follow one another, and you get older. Whatever your life is right now, that can't be it. There needs to be a way out. And luckily for you, there is.
You're goddamn right.
But in order to go this path, we must first understand and dismantle the lies and traps of the prevailing system. Because poison and its antidote seem the same if you don't understand either. So, are you with me? Let's get to the bottom of the rat race, and eventually find the escape.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
The following content can lead to fundamental changes in your understanding of the world. Watch at your own risk.
There is one actor that is working against you. The invisible part of the rat race, you could say, the part you cannot see. You work all day for a currency, a fiat currency. You trade your time, energy, and expertise for some digits in your bank account. But the chief of the Federal Reserve can simply press a button and create trillions of dollars of fiat money out of thin air. And when he does, he steals your purchasing power. Now you need to spend even more time, energy, and expertise to try to keep your head above water. That is simply unfair. No one should have the power to create money for free that someone else has to work for. I would go even a step further and argue that this process is one of the greatest crimes in history because it leads to a practical financial enslavement of anyone who is using the currency. It is a way to take people's wealth from them without having to openly raise taxes. Inflation is the most universal tax of all, but it does not burden everyone equally. It destroys the middle class and crushes the lower class. It forces hardworking people to live from paycheck to paycheck. It makes the richest richer and the masses poorer. It creates a rigged game in which all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And what that means in practice, for individuals like you and me, is even worse than how it already sounds. Because money is a tool for trading human time. You go to work to trade your time for money, and then you go to the marketplace and put the money into the marketplace to trade it for the time of others, to make your food, or clean your hotel room, or produce your shoes, whatever good or service it is. But then we have this institution, the bureaucratic apparatus of the Fed and government, that has arrogated to itself the legal monopoly privilege of printing money, which it maintains through deception and violence. that can issue new units of money while no one else is allowed to. That institution is a systemized method of time theft. It is stealing time from productive members of the market, and way more than anyone could even conceptualize. This is the growth of the money supply since 1981. They're stealing an average of 7.6% working hours per year. By that, bureaucrats at the Fed have managed to scalp nearly 1 trillion hours off the backs of hard-working people. Assuming each person works an average of 2,000 hours per year, this is equivalent to enslaving 11.7 million people for 40 years straight. Time stolen by the Fed since 1981 is 341% more per year than the transatlantic slave trade, with 23.4 billion hours stolen annually. The Fed could, in theory, build 2.3 Great Pyramids each year. In terms of absolute human time stolen per year, fiat currency is the largest pyramid scheme and institution of slavery in human history. It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and money system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. In order to maintain this system, it is necessary to ensure that the losers of the game lay down and do not revolt. We are taught that inflation is something completely normal. We print money, the prices go up. This is just pertinent to a healthy economy. And if you question this narrative, we tell you to be quiet please and listen to the experts. But these experts, the modern mainstream economists, are essentially just actors who pretend to be economists to justify more government spending. If you actually look at it from real first principles, it is just theft integrated into the money. It's a technology backdoor to steal people's purchasing power. And this is so important to me because we are already a subject to the passing of time. We come into existence, grow, become old, and pass away. Our time is scarce. If you ask me, I don't need extra time stolen from me. The temporal limitation inflicted by the natural laws of life are enough for me. Under the fiat system, we effectively have to earn our money twice. Once by working, and then again when you invest, trying to beat inflation. Imagine working hard all your life at a career serving others so you can live decently in your retirement, and then realizing you need to understand and follow stocks, bonds, real estate, global macroeconomics, and central banks just to keep the value you had already earned. Contrary to conventional wisdom, money is not the root of all evil. It is actually just a tool for trading time/labor. The root of all evil is the actor that deteriorates this voluntary exchange of energy by creating money in plain sight. It destroys the foundation of our working society and sacrifices individuals like pawns in a chess game. If you put your trust in the system, then you will be very disappointed. The large bureaucratic apparatus is not interested in you. It doesn't even know you. It doesn't feel. It doesn't care. All it does is grow, destroy, and enslave. I am not saying this to be controversial, but because this is the reality. If you read history, you will read this same story over and over. The story of the individual who struggles against the overwhelming collective. Today we are facing this huge system, the state, the endless problems, and because of that, more and more people feel powerless, useless, and hopeless. I make this video because of two reasons. First, to abide by the first ethical rule from Nassim Taleb. If you see fraud and do not say fraud, you are a fraud. I want to play my part in bringing awareness to the fiat fraud that none of us can see, but that we all feel in our daily lives. And secondly, even more importantly, because I want to appeal to you, the sovereign individual. You have the incredible opportunity of actualizing your potential in the world to make things better for you and the people you care about. But this is incredibly hard if the money you use robs you of your purchasing power and therefore of your self-efficacy. In a system where money can be printed at will, your labor becomes increasingly meaningless. And because of that, life turns more and more into an endless, self-defeating and pointless pursuit, a rat race. If you put your trust in the system and believe that it will get better over time, you will be extremely disappointed and crushed. If you understand the system and sacrifice your life to get to the top, you might survive. These are the two options you had throughout human history, if the system you were living in was corrupt. But nowadays, there is a third way. 70 years ago, Ayn Rand proposed the separation of the state and economics, just as we had the separation of church and state. 40 years ago, Friedrich Hayek said that we never have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government, and because of this, we can't take it violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way introduce something that they can't stop. Although this was a great ideal and aspiration, we had never the technology to realize this until January 3rd, 2009. This is the singularity where science collided with economics, in which Satoshi Nakamoto created the first engineered monetary system in the history of the human race, with which humanity enabled the ability to send money across space without a trusted third party. It's often referred to as magic internet money, and the magic is that there will never be more than 21 million of it. Whether 8 billion people invest in it, whether the price makes a 100x, whether the government sends out their army to increase the supply, it will not work. It is an invention where time theft is not possible. The concept of absolute scarcity is a difficult concept to handle because it's the first time in history that we have invented/discovered something that is absolute scarce. And what this means for individuals is that they no longer have to rely on the sociopathic bureaucracy, but can entrust their purchasing power to the laws of nature in the form of computer code, cryptography, and physics. There is now a concrete alternative to the corrupt fiat system, where we see monetary expansion everywhere. People are losing their wealth through no fault of their own. And as Michael Saylor says, the solution is a bank in cyberspace, run by incorruptible software, offering a global, affordable, simple, and secure savings account to billions of people that don't have the option or desire to run their own hedge fund. Bitcoin is the perfect engineered material to solve our problem, but people are living in fear and illusion. The insight is restricted to those who have a need to know. If you don't suffer under the current system, you have no problem, and if you have no problem, you are in no need for a solution. But since you watched so far, you probably have a need to know. If you feel trapped in mediocrity and you feel hopeless because you're not allowed to own the fruits of your labor and you think the world is falling off a cliff, then come with me on a journey with an open but critical mind to understand how to escape the rat race once and for all. The real trap of the rat race is not the grind, but the belief that there's no alternative. This is my invitation to you to learn about Bitcoin and to decide for yourself what you do with it. Click on the video on the screen and subscribe to the channel.